I watched her pack for the wedding. She was practically dancing around the room, a wide smile on her face, completely unaware that the ground beneath our feet was already shifting. She held up 2 pairs of shoes, asking which ones I liked better. "The sparkly ones, definitely," I joked. "You'll outshine the bride." She laughed, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. Something was different. Our daughter ran in then, her face alight with excitement, begging to help her mommy pack. My wife knelt down, promising they'd have special girl time as soon as she got back. On the bed, new clothes were laid out. They were expensive, bolder than her usual style. A little red flag went up in my mind, but I pushed it down. "Trying out a new Vegas look?" I teased. She stiffened. "It's just for fun," she snapped, a defensive edge to her voice I hadn't heard before. She started talking about the bachelorette party, how wild it was going to be. Her eyes were shining, a little too brightly. The next morning at breakfast, her phone buzzed constantly. She'd glance at it, a small, secret smile playing on her lips before quickly turning it face down on the table. I tried to explain again why I couldn't go. That work was just too demanding right now. A flicker of something disappointment? Relief? Crossed her face before she masked it. A sleek, black luxury car pulled up, a rental she said the girls had all chipped in for. She gave me and our daughter a quick kiss, her mind already miles away. The moment she drove off, the house felt hollow, a sudden, heavy quiet settling in. Later, she sent photos from the hotel. The suite was incredible, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city lights. Beautiful rooms, hiding decisions I couldn't yet see. The first night, she texted frequently. But the second night, her messages slowed to a crawl, then stopped completely. A group photo finally arrived. She was in the center, laughing, but I had to zoom in to be sure it was her. The woman smiling back at the camera felt like a stranger. I called late, but it went straight to voicemail. The silence that followed was deafening. Morning brought a fresh wave of anxiety. Friends had started tagging her in photos on social media. There she was, dancing on a table, a drink in her hand, with captions full of inside jokes that hinted at secrets I wasn't privy to. I went to make breakfast for our daughter, the smell of burnt toast filling the kitchen as my mind raced. She finally called, her voice loud, her laughter forced. "Sorry, it was a crazy night," she said, brushing off my questions about why she hadn't answered. I could hear the distance in her voice, a sharp, defensive wall between us. Then came the official wedding photos, posted by the photographer. Everyone looked perfect, beautiful, but the images felt strangely empty to me. Her return home was a study in quiet caution. She was distant, careful, like someone walking on glass. She avoided my touch, her silences growing longer and heavier. Her showers became marathons. Days passed in a blur of whispered phone calls she cut short when I entered a room in glances that never quite met mine. One afternoon, I came home early, hoping a small surprise might break through the tension. As I walked in, I heard her voice from the bedroom, a hushed whisper. "I know, I'll be careful. No one will find out," she was promising someone. A cold knot of fear tightened in my chest. Later, as she was getting ready to go out, a small piece of paper fell from her purse. My eyes caught 3 words before she snatched it away. Positive pregnancy test. "It's nothing," she said, her lie too quick, too clumsy to be believed. "The test." "What was that about?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Her tears were the first answer. She collapsed onto the floor, the whole story pouring out between sobs, a drunken mistake, a lapse in judgment, a night she couldn't take back. "How many times?" I asked. Her whispered answer cut deeper than any shout could have. Just then my phone rang, my brother asking about a work thing. It dragged me back to a reality I had to function in. I picked up our daughter from school, forcing a smile, holding back the storm that was breaking inside me. That evening, a framed painting she'd done of our family caught my eye. The 3 of us smiling, perfect, a cruel joke. Later that night, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "There's more you need to know." I hesitated, my thumb hovering over the screen. "Who is this?" I typed. The reply was a gut punch. It described more lies, a secret credit card, and another man, another night. I pulled up our bank statements online. And there it was in black and white. A charge for a hotel room on a night she was supposed to be with her sister. The proof waiting patiently for me to find it. A wave of nausea washed over me. More messages came through from the anonymous number, filling in the gaps she'd so carefully left out. When I confronted her with the new information, the facade finally crumbled completely. She admitted it wasn't a drunken mistake. It was planned, all of it. She talked about feeling alive, powerful, free, about chasing a feeling she thought she'd lost. All I could think about were the bedtime stories I'd read to other and the empty promises she'd made to us. "I want you to leave," I said, the words feeling foreign in my own mouth, "and get tested again." The next morning I went through the motions, making breakfast, packing a lunch, pretending our world hadn't just imploded. "Is Mommy sad?" my daughter asked, her small voice sensing the cracks in our foundation. I forced another smile, another lie meant to protect her innocence. That week, I reviewed the security footage from our front door. I saw her leaving for the trip, but I also saw her coming home, pausing on the porch, her shoulders slumped in a moment of what looked like regret. A few days later, one of her friends from the trip came over, unannounced. She tried to defend my wife's choices, talking about freedom and fun. Her excuses were flimsy and insulting. "Whose idea was all of it?" I asked. The silence was my answer. The word lawyers came up. It hung in the air, heavy and final. My wife's messages turned to begging, promising she'd do anything. I walked through the house, every room filled with ghosts of shared memories. A forgotten birthday card fell out of a book, reopening the wound. I called her, my voice hard. "I want the truth." "No more excuses." She finally spoke, not of excuses, but of feeling lost, of chasing an escape from a life she felt trapped in. I reminded her of the vows we made, the promises she had shattered. She asked for counseling, for transparency, for another chance to earn back my trust. I agreed only to listen, nothing more. The school bus arrived, pulling me back to my most important role, father. I hugged my daughter, grounding myself in the one thing that was still real, still true. That night, an email arrived from my wife. A full confession, detailing every calculated betrayal. I read every single word as the dawn light slowly filled the room. The anger was immense, the grief overwhelming. But underneath it all, a strange sense of clarity began to form. A flicker of hope appeared. Not for a return to normal, but for a future built on brutal honesty. I chose patience, not forgiveness, not yet. A small hand tugged on my shirt, pulling me back to the present.